What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake NBA DFS Wise Stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all social media platforms listed above you. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. Hit the notifications bell so you are notified whenever we do go live or put out content. We do this Wise Stream on the YouTube channel and Twitch channel, twitch.tv/WiseTake if you are interested. Or if you ever see us disappearing from YouTube. If you ever just come on a weekday and you know we're supposed to do a show and you don't see a show come out and nothing come out from us on our YouTube page, then YouTube did something. So you'll find us on Twitch and Periscope those days. But we're on Twitch every day regardless. You could follow us there. Please like the video, those of you who haven't already. We appreciate you. I know some of you, if you're new, you want to watch the video a little bit before you like it. It's all good. I get it. We could do that. Shout out to those of you who were with us for the midday. Got a pretty good turnout. I got some good feedback from it, so it's something we're going to try to maintain, see if we can do it. Like I said, if the people are willing to watch, if the people are there and they want it, we'll give it to them. So, not much has changed since earlier. I've made a few little adjustments in terms of minutes and just some of the little things that I came across when I was digging in. Nothing major. I'm still kind of on that balanced build. We'll talk about it in a second as we go through the game by game again. For hour 2, we will bring on Paulie D, the GOAT, the true OG. We will bring on Stevie Brown. That's right. We will get down with Stevie Brown. He'll be coming on talking some cash games with us. We'll turn it into a little 3-man action for the last hour. But in the meantime, it's us. We're going to rock this slate, 4-game slate. I like it. The contests were a little weird, I thought, on DraftKings. I mean, you find ways to make it work between the primary and secondary contests, but it was a little weird. They raised the donkey back up, which I expected, but no mini max, the $2 150 max that we usually do. None of that. We saw a $5, which they usually do, but it's just weird to risk what is it, $750 to win $2,000. I don't know. But the field was smaller on DraftKings, so I get it. What up, Kyle? What up, Crazy Cooks? Paulie D in the YouTube chat. What's happening, Paulie? We will talk to everybody soon. For sure. Stay tuned for those of you who are just watching us. We are going to do a giveaway on this show. You're going to have to be liked. You're going to have to like the video and be subscribed to the channel in order to qualify. But we are going to do a little giveaway, a little contest right in the YouTube chat, actually. So make sure you get over there. The winner of the contest, we'll announce what the contest is. The winner will get a free month of WiseTake All Sports Access. That's all the sports, and we got XFL coming this week, which we are going to be doing some content for. So you'll get everything, including all the NBA stuff, these projections, everything. So we will be doing the giveaway. Stay tuned. I can tell you right now, you're going to have to like the video. You're going to have to be subscribed to the channel. And just stick with us, because in the second half of the show, we will announce the contest and, ask you guys a question, and we'll take it from there. So again, stay tuned, like the video, subscribe. All right, let's get into these games. So I'm a little perplexed. Most of you may not know me. Some of you do. And when it comes to NBA DFS in general, I always have like a thing for playing the later games. Well, I don't know if it's as much as playing the late games as much as not wanting to play too much of the early games. First of all, and this has nothing to do with this is just like a me thing. People got things. There's one skill is one thing, and some of the stuff is like a mental thing. And for me, there is a genuine edge in ownership with going with later games. There's no doubt that the ownership for the first games are always a little increased because there's a lot of people out there that don't play a ton or they just want to sweat right away. They just want, the East Coast bias thing. You got people on the West Coast that are able to, say it's 4 o'clock when the first game start. You could literally finish your work shift and have a game to sweat. So I think that that's something that does happen. Where I come into a weird situation is when the first game on the slate I like a ton. Now, this slate could be a little bit different. I'm expecting James Harden to be extremely popular and the Rockets' value, and we'll talk about all that. Obviously, a really good spot for James Harden in terms of matchup against Charlotte, who, while they are slow, are terrible defensively. And obviously Westbrook is out. So you've heard a million times today about how Harden's usage rate is up and the point per minute. We know all that, yeah. The issue, of course, and this is a slate with a lot of interesting studs. Damian Lillard is like the hottest player on the planet right now. Jokic has been playing a ton of minutes. His team is just extremely thin. They got no choice. Missing Millsap and Plumlee, they got nothing. So he's playing tons of minutes. Anthony Davis is cheap against the Spurs, who are just horrendous against bigs in general. LeBron, they're not good against point guards either. So there's a lot of studs that are in really good spots, but the mid tier is also really strong. And I'm not crazy from what I see from the value that we're looking at. So again, these things could change. That's the whole point of the show, is as we get information, we can make moves. I'll be curious to hear Stevie's take. I'll be curious to hear Paulie's take, and curious to hear you guys' take as I check in and out of the chat. I'll do what I can with the chat. I'm checking it out. When I get the guys on, a little easier to maintain. But for now, we're just going to go game by game in this one. So first up, Milwaukee Bucks visiting the New Orleans Pelicans. Nolans, as I was told by people from New Orleans, is how it's pronounced, Nolans. We have a 246 total, by far the highest. I think the next closest is actually the Laker game at 226.5. We're talking about 246 total. The Bucks are 6.5 point road favorites. Both teams have had a day off. The Pelicans have been hot. They did just lose to Houston on the road. Before that, they had won 3 in a row. They're playing a lot better, obviously, with Zion fully incorporated into the team. So what this one's going to come down to is whether or not you think the game's competitive, because it's going to be played at a crazy high pace. There's no question about that. Both these teams play extremely fast. Milwaukee a little bit better defensively, but a lot of fire with Zion there. They do got some firepower. The Pelicans, between Holiday, Ingram, some of the guys off the bench like Redick, Hart. So it'll be an interesting matchup. Now, starting with the Milwaukee side, as we always start with the road teams. As you can see here, we got a lot of guys that project really well for us. I made the minutes for a competitive game script. Giannis is not a full 33. It's probably like 32.5 or so. Our projections obviously incorporate pace, and this game projects to have a really high pace, so it's going to obviously like the players in this game. Starting with the Milwaukee side, Eric Bledsoe is 6,300 on FanDuel, 66 on DraftKings. I'm not seeing, I looked across the board in ownership, and I'm seeing very different ranges. The one constant I'm seeing is James Harden being popular. Outside of that, it kind of varies. I'm sure players in this game are going to be popular, but I don't know about them being played together. I'm very, very interested in game stacks of this game, different variations of it. And it's not just Giannis that I'm interested in. Bledsoe is really cheap. Between Drew Holiday and Lonzo Ball, I would figure that they're going to want Bledsoe on the court all he can handle. And he's played a little bit more lately. Before this little stretch of games that they've had, they were really rested. They went to France, and then they had 4 days off. Then they played a game, had 2 days off. It was something crazy. And Giannis didn't even play one of those games. So I'm not worried. I think that they will play their guys' minutes. They don't play tomorrow. I better double check that part. I looked at J-Irv's schedule notes, which is a free article that you should start your day with over at WiseTake.com, by the way. J-Irv does it pretty much every day. You should go in there. It's free. And we go over he goes over the schedule, who's in a back-to-back, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, neither of them play tomorrow. Too cheap, right? I mean, we're talking about a fast team playing another extremely fast team. That's slightly worse defensively. Not slightly, but that is worse defensively. So I like Bledsoe. I like Middleton a lot as well. I'd be fine playing them together, even with Giannis here. I know if Giannis was out, obviously they would be the chalk of the slate, but we're going to get them at lower ownership, I would think, because of all the other good plays, especially in the mid-tier. So I like them both. I do like Giannis. As of right now, he's probably my favorite stud outside of James Harden, who we'll talk about. Harden's like the optimal. So to me, Harden is number one based off the optimals. But in tournaments, to get a little bit different, I do like Giannis, because this could be a game where they could actually need him. His point per minute average is ridiculously high. The issue, of course, is they baby his minutes. You never really know when he's going to get full run. It all has to do with whether they need him or not. In situations where they need him, he will get as many minutes as they think they need to win. But in situations where they think they got it locked up, he's only going to get 30 minutes. Close game, maybe he gets 33, 34. We got him for 33 being optimistic, and it's really 32.5, like I said. Now, with that said, I say again, he's my favorite stud, it doesn't mean I'm getting a ton of studs. Because again, I don't love the value that I'm seeing. We'll talk to Paulie and Stevie and get their take. Maybe they're a little bit stronger on the value. Maybe I'll raise some of the minutes or raise some of the projections of some of these value plays. But the way things stands now, I'm not getting a ton of studs. So Bledsoe and Middleton are the primary two. I'm actually okay with Lopez against New Orleans. I don't know. The price is obviously way up from the 39 he was the other day. But I'm okay with it. It's not. Center, we got a lot of guys. If you come here, it's fine. Only because I'm considering anyone who's going to play significant minutes because I like this game for game stacks. Holla. With that said, the New Orleans side, as a team, bro, like they project so well. So well. I got Zion at 31 minutes to be conservative because he was projecting like through the roof. And he could get, like, he's going to face Giannis for the first time. Foul trouble. That could happen. He's young. He's we've seen Zion. I mean, he looks like he's going to be the real deal, but we've seen him a little shaky, right? Having free throw problems and little things like that. So I do like Zion, but I think that Derek Favors, who also projects well, is also kind of someone we got to consider. I think that might be the only rule that I set here. And again, I'm looking at a lot of exposure to these first two games, at least as of now, the way things stand. I think I may make a rule to not play Favors, at least not a lot, Favors with Zion. Number one, Favors can't handle a ton of minutes, so if everything's going their way, if they can get away with it, Favors is looking at like 24 minutes, in which he could still do well here. It's a very good matchup on the other side. Brolo is soft, so we call him Donut. So he could do what he wants to do. However, we've seen them close usually with Zion at the 5. We've seen them go a little smaller in their last game. Now, they were playing the Rockets, a small team, so it's a little bit different. But Brolo is not a traditional big. He's just literally big. I think it's a situation where Favors may play a little more. So I'm not saying, like, that's why I'm hesitant to do it, because I feel like I want, at least, like, I don't want to eliminate the possibility. If I'm doing 150 teams, and today I'm doing like 190. If I'm doing like 190 different teams, I want some with them. I just don't want it to be attached to every team together, because I do think there's a situation where they don't correlate well, and there's a situation where they end up playing together more, and they just both get there because of their pricing and where their usage falls. Like, Favors dominated Milwaukee in 2 games he's played. And one of them he didn't get a ton of minutes, still went for like 27. The second one he straight up dominated when he got full run. So that's a spot that I'm a little like perplexed on right now. I like them both. It's just obviously I like Zion more, but do I pair them together? Do I just let it run and say, nah, it's cool if they're together at Game Stack City? Or do I say, nah, they probably won't correlate well? If Favors is on the court more, it might be because Zion got into foul trouble. But again, we only have him projected for 24 minutes, and he's still projecting the close to 6x on DraftKings at 4.9. FanDuel at 5.5. See, it's even more interesting over there because they're both the same position on FanDuel. Something else to think about. Outside of that, Lonzo Ball, I'm cool with in tournaments. I think his price is still too low. He's playing monster minutes. And again, they're going to want as many guards. So we got guys like Bledsoe and Middleton. They're going to want these guys on the court. Brandon Ingram projects to be the best play on the slate for us. I don't understand why he's 7K. I mean, he when Zion first came on the scene, Ingram had a little usage decrease. And the usage still is down, but the minutes are still there. He's still playing big minutes. And when he's efficient, he's going to do well. This is a really good spot. We saw Will Barton just destroy Milwaukee in a spot similar to this. He's playing at 3 more, which is where Barton primarily plays. It just seems like I'm not saying because Barton did it, Ingram's going to do it, but Ingram has been playing well in general, right? If Zion wasn't here, this would be a lock button situation. But yeah, I like Ingram quite a bit. As somebody who was down on him, it was just more of a matter of I'm not paying 8.5 for him. I'm not paying 8.2 or 8K for him. But at 7K has gotten low. And on FanDuel at 7.6, it doesn't make a difference to me because there's so many ways to get him in because of the soft pricing over there in general. Drew Holiday, they dropped his price. I'm not sure. He had one bad game. They dropped his price. Again, the way these guys are priced, not that stacking is like we don't stack for correlation in NBA DFS, right? This is just about these guys are all priced where if this game does stay close like Vegas anticipates, if this game does hit that total or go over that total, I think they're all priced at a point where they can all give you 6x. Maybe 4 is the max I'd do. Maybe. Because you also got guys like Josh Hart you can rotate in for value. JJ Redick, it's hard to project where he's going to be, but he's really cheap. We don't have a lot of value, so if you want exposure to this game and you are still looking to play like the Hardens and whatever studs you need, there's still players in this game you could pick from. Because if you're gonna pick, while you want guys that are gonna play, this is like a really good, like the quality of minutes in this game should be good because of the pace. We're anticipating a lot of possessions, all that good stuff. So as of right now, again, the way things are now, if we get some injury news that opens up some value, that may get me a little more spread from this, and that I'll end up plucking some of the better plays from it and mixing it in with Hardens and Giannis's and whatever expensive play there is. But as of right now, the mid-tier is grading out a little too strong for me. Strong style. We'll go to the next game. 49er Dunn says, always got to have a late night hammer or two. I feel you, bro. I feel you. That's like in the back of my head. Like that's been my thing. I feel you 100% on that. And that's why I'm nervous that my favorite game happens to be the first one. But at the end of the day, I'll feel a little better if I feel like not everybody's doing it. But I mean, why wouldn't they be doing it, right? Like other than the fact that they're trying to force in Harden and they won't be able to play all these guys together. Because I don't think these players are going to be low owned. It's a 4-game slate, right? It's not that these players are going to be low owned, the ones that I'm highlighting here. It's more about the combination of them together that may be low owned. Because if you play them all together and you don't play that one or two extra value pieces, you won't be able to afford James Harden. So that's like the build. While the players may not be low owned, the build may be a little lower owned. Assuming that Harden is like 50%, like I'm seeing him projected certain places. But I think the optimal build today, I see Kyle Bogart says one stud and the rest mid-tier. I think that's the optimal build today. Harden is obviously very expensive on DraftKings, so people may have to play one or two extra value pieces to get him or Giannis. But if you were willing to settle with like Anthony Davis at 9-3, then you wouldn't even need that extra value piece. You could probably make that work. So yeah, I think one stud and the rest mid-tier. Another contrarian build, another way to be different is to find a way to get two studs. I don't even like the value enough to comfortably afford one. So that's not like what I'm looking at the moment. But it's very, again, sometimes people get caught up in the ownership of a player. And it's important. I'm not saying ownership's not important for players. It is. But sometimes, having a different build, having a contrarian build will allow you to play some of the better players, even if they're chalk, and still get you with some sort of contrarian, you know what I'm saying, output. You feel me? All right, anyway, like the video, guys. Much appreciated. We're going to the next game. We've got the Charlotte Hornets visiting the Houston Rockets. 223 total, 223.5. It's down from 224. Rockets currently 13.5, down from 14. Charlotte on the road. This is a tough part in the schedule for Charlotte. Mention that. Charlotte is on the back end of a back-to-back in the midst of a 3-4 and a 4-6. Houston's had a day off. They're chilling at home. Right? They played a couple days ago. They beat New Orleans on the road, came back home. Westbrook's just not going to play. Capella's not going to play. Westbrook's got a sprained thumb. He's not just sitting. So starting with the Charlotte side, this is one of the first pieces of news that I'm waiting for is PJ Washington's status. He's missed 2 games in a row with an ankle injury. Right now in our projections, we have him in which if he's in, he's actually on DraftKings anyway. On FanDuel 5-1, there's better. On DraftKings at 4-6, he actually looks like a decent value option at power forward and center. I don't know if he's going to play at this point. If he's out, I'll be a lot more interested. Now, Devontae Graham, I guess, to start, is already going to project well. He's been cold. Maybe he's broken. Maybe he's burnt out. I don't know. I'm going to play some of him because it's a 4-game slate. And I would, this is a game where Houston's going to shoot a lot of threes. Charlotte's probably going to shoot a bunch of threes to keep pace. And if he's one of the guys that takes the most threes on their team, right? It just makes sense. Plus, the assist numbers have actually been strong still. And the minutes have looked good. So I'll have some of him. I'm okay with some Rozier. I think that he's another mid-tier play that's interesting. There was just a lot of guys that kind of graded out better for him, mostly in that New Orleans game alone, between Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, Holiday, all these guys that are point guard eligible over there. But I think that he's a contrarian way. I assume people are going to play Graham, at least some, and Rozier could be a contrarian pivot while staying in that mid-tier balance range. And remember the Charlotte side. Charlotte plays extremely slow. They're going to be paced up like crazy here. You don't see Charlotte very often in games with 220-something totals. They played Orlando yesterday, and the total was like 202 because both teams just crawl. So the Charlotte side, if you thought this game were going to stay a little closer than Vegas indicates, then the Charlotte side is definitely something that you should see value in. With that said, if PJ Washington were to get ruled out, I would give more minutes to Cody Zeller. He would look a little more attractive. Now, Charlotte and Houston is going to be small. That's what they do, right? They're going to play Tucker at the 5, House at the 4. So there's no guarantee. Like, the difference we saw, I said it on the show earlier, Porzingis is an actual good jump shooter. So he was just shooting right over the top of their guys. Rudy Gobert is not a shooter. So as long as they stood their ground, Rudy Gobert was not able to kind of pound them down. He had to, and he didn't shoot a lot because of it. So as far as Zeller, we've seen him take threes. We've seen him shoot. But I think that could play a factor, and they could force him off the court and just go smaller, especially if PJ Washington does play. They probably will spend a majority of this game going smaller. If PJ Washington is out, like I said, more minutes for Zeller. I think I would give more minutes to Hernan Gomez, who I think played 20-something minutes in the last game. And it would be an interesting value play, right? He's a high point per minute type player. Not like a lock button situation, nothing crazy, but I'd be a little interested because he has been actually getting run. And we know he does a lot. He is active. Like, he is just going to sit there and throw the ball up. When he's in the game, he's throwing the ball up. Miles Bridges, however, is probably the biggest benefactor, I think, in this situation. He's been playing just a ton of minutes with PJ out. Just a ton. And he's been playing the 4. So anytime we get a player, well, not all the time. They start Marv from time to time. They play this other guy. But he's getting some extra time at the 4. Anytime a player gets some extra time closer to the basket, you're going to see their rebound numbers typically go up. Sometimes they take higher percentage shots, or at least maybe available to take higher percentage shots. But regardless, he's another one that's going to be shooting threes. We'll raise his minutes up to, I'll probably raise his minutes regardless. 30 is probably too low at this point. I think he's earned some extra time. So I'll probably raise it regardless around 32, 33. But if PJ is out, I'll put it at 35 or more and be comfortable with that. Malik Monk is another interesting value play. So there's reports that they're trying to trade him. They're trying to play him a little bit. He's been back in the rotation. And he's playing minutes. He didn't play a ton of minutes in their last game yesterday. I think it was only like 22. But before that, he was playing upwards of like, at times, 30. There is a possibility, especially if this game gets ugly and blows out, there is a possibility that he gets some extra runs. So I think he's kind of interesting. I think we have him projected for like 26 and a half minutes. I know you guys see this on the screen, but again, that's kind of rounded up. Let me see what we got for him. I'm curious. I'm curious as hell. Yeah, we got him at like 26 and a half. And again, with PJ out, it's just one less body that's going to play minutes. So we could probably raise him up a little bit more. So he'd probably pop 2. So again, this is a pace up situation for Charlotte. So this news is kind of important in terms of bodies, because for them there is some value in the simple fact that there should be more possessions than they are used to in this game. You know what I mean? Next up, we've got the Houston Rockets. So Austin Rivers projects to be one of the stronger value plays. We got him at 32 and a half minutes. He's projecting for over 6x. I'm fine with it. Even looking at usage, I think he was like, at 17% with Westbrook off the court or something like that. I'm okay with it. I think he'll play the minutes. He was questionable because he was sick. He didn't practice yesterday, but apparently he's not on the injury report, so we're expecting him to play. I expect his ownership to be extremely high, somewhere around 60 or whatever. Like, he's going to be the first guy people go to in order to get Harden in. I think McLemore is an interesting pivot if you're into that kind of thing. I personally prefer Eric Gordon, I think, to McLemore. Gordon is like 5'3" on DraftKings. He's only 49 on FanDuel. I mean, over there, I think he's a really good play. But his usage, in a smaller, remember, Gordon missed some time this year. He actually missed a good amount of time. But in a smaller sample, obviously, we've seen him without Harden and Westbrook, and he did the dirty. I don't expect him to be that aggressive. But he is going to take the shots, and I think he's going to play big minutes. So I'm actually cool with Eric Gordon. I think they want him on the court as much as they can. And, yeah, I expect to see him play a lot today. So on both sides, I'm cool with him. On FanDuel, a little easier at 4.9. But again, Gordon in that not quite valued at mid-tier, I like it. I will be playing Austin Rivers, don't get me wrong. I mean, you can always use a guy that's 3.6 or 4K or whatever. On FanDuel, I don't know, 4K is not as appealing, but 36 on DraftKings with shooting guard eligibility certainly is. PJ Tucker, man, a lot of sites have him projected better. He's going to be playing the 5, and this is a really good spot for centers. Regardless if it's Zeller or if they go small, it's still a good spot for centers. He's not a traditional center. His usage rate is not existent. You know what I mean? Like, he's just gonna stand there. So I'm not really into him. And you can see just straight up projection. I didn't like do anything to manually lower his projection. We got him at 38 minutes, which let me check what it really is. I got him at, what the hell? There he is. I got him at 37 and a half. Okay. And he's still only projecting for like 23 raw points. Again, this doesn't factor in matchup, just pace, and this is a not a pace up spot for Houston. So if you're a little higher on him for the value, it's fine. To me, it depends. If I'm really trying to play Harden like 50%, then I gotta expect to play some PJ Tucker, because I can't really say no to the value if nothing's gonna separate that much. And you got Austin Rivers, but you're gonna need more than that if you want Harden. But as somebody who, as of right now, is not looking at a ton of Harden in tournaments, to be clear, obviously I don't need a guy like that as much. The new house also, he's another one kind of with the Eric Gordon category, right? He's 5'1". He's playing a ton of minutes with Capella out. He's playing like pretty much all the four while Tucker's occupied at the 5. This is a good matchup for fours in general against Charlotte, whether PJ plays or not. So I like him too. I think he's going to get big minutes, opportunity for rebounds. He's going to be expected to take some shots. That's one thing he does do. So I'm with it. I am with it. But it's really going to depend. I'm actually higher on some of the Rocket ancillary pieces than I am on Westbrook. I will play a lot of Rivers. I'm going to play some Gordon. Maybe I play some House. I guess it depends on where he ranks by the end of everything, by the end of the news. But I like them a little bit better. And, of course, McLemore, for the people that are trying to play the studs, McLemore, I think, will be owned, but less owned than Rivers. So, therefore, an interesting pivot at 3,400 on DraftKings and, 38 on FanDuel? It's right here in front of me, I know, but let me look at that shit. Yeah, 38. Holla. All right, next game. We're going to do it. We're going to do it, then we're going to do a big win. Thoughts on Simon for value? If Washington is out, Martin is the value of the night. If PJ Washington is out, Marvin Williams has started, and I think would be in play, especially if you are trying to fit those studs. And we mentioned you might want to play 2 studs if you can to be different. We mentioned just finding a way to play Harden with other good players in general, even if they're not studs. My problem with Marv, really, I wouldn't want to play him too high. I mean, he played 18 minutes yesterday against Orlando. He had a 5% usage rate, only took 2 shots. Went for 9.5. The day before that, game before that, he played 24 against, remember, PJ's been out for 2 games now. Game before that, he played 24 minutes against the Spurs, went for 14. So I don't mind working him in. He's just not a guy that I would feel comfortable going heavy on, because unless there was like even more. If I knew he was going to play 35 minutes, then hell yeah. But in these situations, we've had PJ out. I keep getting these notifications waiting for PJ, and it's not PJ. I'm getting annoyed. But anyway, but min price, I totally understand where you're coming from. I'm not knocking you for that mentality, because I think that is a way to get different. In that trying to get not just Harden, but get Harden or one of the studs with another stud or with just good plays, right? There's a couple guys that are in that like 8K, like Whiteside, who's in the middle, right? So I'm okay with it, but probably not something. I'm looking more to go towards Bridges and some of those other guys, I think, in that scenario, personally. But he would be there. Thoughts on Simon for value? We'll get to that game in a sec, and we will talk about it. Oh, Martin. Oh, my bad, bro. What did I think you said? Oh, I thought you said Marvin. You said Martin. Okay. Martin. Okay, my bad. 49 to done. That was my bad, bro. I thought you said Marvin, and it was Martin. I got you. Yeah, I mean, he's been... Let's see. Let's take a look at him right quick. How about that? Cody Martin. Here we go. Yes. Okay, yes. Completely different story. My bad. I thought you said Marvin. So shout out to 49er Don. Correct. Cody Martin has been getting big minutes with PJ out, and I would anticipate him to get the rest. And he's actually shown upside. Usage rate much better, 10.3, 16.1. He's been efficient. Like yesterday, he was 6 for 6, but he's in there grabbing boards. He's doing things. And this is a guy they wanted to play more. Like him and his brother both. They like their attitudes. They like the way they play. So yeah, glad you pointed it out. If we get the news, we will definitely want to to play some Cody Martin for sure. What do we got him for at the moment? So we got him at 19 minutes. So obviously he's not showing much. But if we were to get him ruled out, we would comfortably raise him. I would say I would comfortably put him at like 26, just for the simple fact that PJ's missed 2 games and he's played 28 in both. And I know they want him on the court. And I believe he's one of the better defenders as well. So good call, bro. Let's go on to the next one. We've got the Portland Trailblazers. It's so funny. Martin and Marvin are very, very different. Very, very different options. Those of you that have been with us for a minute, you know how we feel about Marvin Williams. But Cody Martin, different story. All right, let's go to Portland. So just to start with this one. This game, Denver really got screwed with the schedule. I'm not exactly sure how or why, but they're about to play a lot of games. Like, they played a lot of games, and they're still playing another one tomorrow. They're in the midst of a 4-6 currently. I think tomorrow will be like their 6th game in 8 nights. Something crazy. It's something crazy. Me and Paulie were going over it earlier. But they've played a ton. And this is the front end of a back-to-back. They play tomorrow. They are at home. Luckily, fortunately for them. Problem is they're playing one of the hottest teams in the game. And more importantly, they're playing the hottest player in the game, Damian Lillard. 225.5 total, so it's risen 3.5 points. It's kind of interesting. Portland is currently 4.5 point underdogs on the road. Starting with the Portland side, I mean, Dame is going to be the first place you're looking. We jacked his minutes up to reflect his usage lately and what he's been doing. He's shooting like 60% from 3. Everybody's going to tell you he can't sustain this. Yada, 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 yada. That's fine. But it's the same thing they teach you when you go to, a regular casino, right? They teach you not to bet against the street. Ride the hot hand. That's kind of how I feel about Dame. To me, it's not about the only issue that I have with reaching Dame is simply reaching Dame. Is how much do I trust the value? But again, if PJ's out, we're going to have more ways to get that value. Damian Lillard, this is a tough spot. Denver has altitude. It could be a little tougher to play here, especially for shooters. But right now, what he's doing, as aggressive as he's been, as far as like even the game, like spread-wise, sportsbook-wise, I bet on Portland +5. Maybe it's a fish move. I think the public's kind of there too, but it's just a really tough spot. I ride the schedule a lot when it comes to the betting stuff. That's why I pay so close attention to it. And it's just a really tough spot. Meanwhile, Portland's got 2 days rest. And I don't believe they play tomorrow. So schedule-wise, it's a really tough spot for Denver, who happens to also be extremely thin and has been thin. They may get Jamal Murray back. I don't see why they would when they have a game tomorrow. But they may get him back. But they've been thin. They've been playing a ton of minutes. Playing a ton of games in a stretch, traveling back and forth. It's rough. They do have one of the best home court advantages because it's a literal home court advantage, not just like fans, just with altitude. A lot of other teams have an issue sometimes keeping pace up there. Usually, I find that it affects more the next day. Like, it seems like the next game, you see players just sluggish. Kind of like how everybody thought in baseball, the cause effect thing. But outside of Dame, there are other good plays. I think that CJ McCollum is underpriced. Again, more in the mid-tier. Hassan Whiteside has shown massive upside. He's not getting... Like, Nurkic is coming back soon, so he's got to show this, right? Nurkic is going to be back at some point after the All-Star break. And then what happens to Whiteside? So in the time being, he's been playing. They've been playing the shit out of him because, they're not just missing Nurkic. They're missing Collins as well. So he's really the main big they have. We've seen these other guys get some run. Caleb Swanigan, some of these guys. But he's playing big minutes. Denver has not been good against centers without Millsap. Millsap and Plumlee are gone. Jokic is not a good defender. He's getting torched by bigs. So I do like Whiteside again. I think the last time Whiteside played these guys earlier this year, he went for like 59 DraftKings points. So I do like Whiteside quite a bit. I like Melo. Melo went for 40 on these dudes last time in Denver. Little narrative street for those of you who like the narrative. To me, it's not about the narrative, more about the price. His price has come down. He's playing 33 to 34 minutes a game. Again, I like the Portland side of this. I think Portland wins the game. I put money on the Portland +5 and money line +160. Holla. If that loses, I will be pissed, but I think it's worth it from the situation I'm looking at. I think that after that, I mean, you know the main four, starting with Dame, then Whiteside. That's how I'd rank it. Dame, Whiteside, then McCollum and Melo. I mean, shit, I guess McCollum, his price is so low. Matchup-wise, I think maybe Melo. But because I think, again, with that Millsap and all that, he may be able to grab some rebounds and all. But McCollum's price, man, 6,300 on DraftKings. 6'9" on FanDuel is like, okay, well, that's where you expected him to be on DraftKings. 6'3" on DraftKings is crazy. But there's a few spots like that. As far as Simons goes, he'll be very low owned. I think Trent's been playing more minutes than him lately, so I don't love that part of it. But he played 24 minutes against Utah. However, that game was a blowout. That game ended up being 124-107. I know for a fact that Dame smashed, but I don't even think he got full run in that game because the game was so ugly. Dame played 36, and like that sounds like a lot, but not when you consider Dame has been playing 40, 39, 38, 42, 45 recently. So 36 for him was light. Let's go on. So Portland, definitely a team I want to get some exposure to. On the Denver side, another one, man. I think Will Barton. Remember, now they have another injury. Murray is questionable, so we have the numbers split as if he's there for now with limited minutes. If he gets ruled out, he'll obviously go to 0. We'll raise Malik Beasley's minutes. He becomes an interesting value play, especially when you consider that Michael Porter Jr. is out today. So, again, there's moving parts. Like, only 4 games, so the little bit of injury we get, that's like, it could be a bigger edge today. It just means more today in general because there's not as many games to focus on. So if we get Murray out, again, I think that Beasley becomes interesting value play at 3,300 on DraftKings and 36 on FanDuel. We'd raise his minutes. Monta Morris, we'd raise the minutes on DraftKings. It would still be kind of hard to get there, but on FanDuel at 5K, he'd probably be showing up pretty good at that point. And Barton, who already projects well, I'd be willing to give him a couple more. This is a really good spot typically for scoring forwards. I'll be seeing Ariza. I'll be seeing maybe even Melo at times, depending. But Melo's probably going to mostly play the 4. Either way, Barton has been playing better lately. The price is up, but it's not like too up, right? Like when he goes off, it's like 40, 50 DraftKings points, whatever the case is. And on FanDuel, he's only 6'2". I like that even better. Jokic is one that, matchup-wise, I love it. Hassan Whiteside is not a good defender. He gets blocks. Just because you get blocks doesn't mean you're a good defender. Jokic, he's not covering Jokic on the perimeter anyway. Jokic is playing monster minutes lately because there's nobody else, bigs-wise. Again, no Millsap. Even if Murray's back, the usage may go down a little bit while Murray's on the court, but he's still going to have to play the minutes if this game stays close because they have Whiteside on the other side who plays 34, 35 minutes a game, and you just got Jokic and Grant. You don't got no Millsap. You got no Plumlee. So it's one of those situations, and Portland has not been a good defensive team. Like, teams aren't having a problem scoring on them. They're just having a problem outpacing Damian Lillard. But I think this is definitely kind of a sneakier game. Dame's been on just a crazy streak. Craziness. Gary Harris. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I think Gary Harris, I don't mind. I mean, he seems to be in some kind of funk. Let's take a look at what he did the other day. The other day was an overtime game also, I believe. Oh, no. I'm sorry. That was for wrong team. No, Denver. I'm right. Shit. I'm right. Shit. Shoot. So Gary Harris played 31 minutes against Detroit. That was an overtime game. Before that, he really has been playing a ton. 25, 23, 24. Now, he is one of the guys that they used to prefer for guards. Obviously, Torrey Craig has emerged as a guy that they just want to stick on anyone. But Gary Harris, what I don't mind about him is in that game against Detroit, he finished with a 7. He shot 1 for 6. An overtime game. He played 31 minutes, the most he's played in a minute. And he finished with a 7. But his usage rate was 12%. But before that, against Memphis, he played 25 minutes, which isn't great. But his usage rate was in the 20s. He just, like, had he been efficient, he would have returned some pretty solid value. So I'm not opposed to Gary Harris for the people that are really looking to get value. But like, you can see why I'm looking more at the mid-tier. Because I feel more comfortable. Like, even in this game, I would feel more comfortable playing Barton and Grant than playing like Harris and even Jokic at this particular moment. And maybe that's not the right approach, but that's kind of where I'm leaning. Now, again, if you're gonna ask, now you're gonna let me get some Malik Beasley, who's even cheaper and has been a little more aggressive when on the court. And I know it sounds crazy. I would have never said something like this last year because Gary Harris used to be a really big part of this offense. But Beasley has been a little more aggressive. Against Milwaukee, he took 12 shots in that game. Of course, and he took 10 threes. He made 5 of them. Took 10 threes. So I just got to see Harris be a little bit more aggressive. But either way, like, even if the Beasley opens up, I'm not totally convinced that I'm more comfortable doing the stars and scrubs approach because I just like the mid tier, and it's mostly because of that first game. I'm not gonna lie, but you'll see there's more. We got more mid tier. More mid tier. We'll go to the next one. What we got? Real quick, guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. You can hit that like button. Much appreciated. Goes a long way. Really helps us out. So do the dirty right now by hitting that like button. Let's go to the next game. Last game. San Antonio Spurs and the Los Angeles Lakers. We've got a 226.5 total. This is technically the second highest on the slate, though it has fallen 2.5 points. So it opened up at 229 and is down to 226.5. The Lakers are 11.5 point home favorites, down from 12. It looks like the public's actually betting on the Spurs in this one. The Spurs almost upset the Clippers last night. Almost. But they didn't. Starting with the Spurs, LaMarcus Aldridge is 6'2" on DraftKings. I mean, I gotta think he's gonna be crazy chalky. The projections I've seen on him have him like somewhere in the top, like 5 or 6 players. But I thought he would be like third highest. My estimation would be Austin Rivers, James Harden, and him as like the mid tier play. He's just really cheap. Now, I think he went for 40 last time against the Lakers. He also had a game before that against the Lakers where he went for like 20. But matchup wise, like Aldridge is obviously a good player. He could shoot, he could score. It's not the greatest matchup, or at least depending on how they play this. The Lakers are a big team, is my point. He played the Clippers last night, went for 50 DraftKings points against obviously a smaller team, the Lakers, who always get beat by bigs. The Clippers. I keep on confusing these damn names. The Lakers are big. LeBron James is big. He's their point guard. Anthony Davis is big. He plays the 3, the 4, and the 5. Dwight Howard's big. JaVale McGee is a big person. So I don't think it's as good of a spot. It is also a back-to-back, right? I think it's just a back-to-back 3 and 4. I don't think it's an actual 4 and 6. Yeah, it's just a little 3 and 4 action. Lakers meanwhile working with 2 days rest for the record. So I like Aldridge a lot. I like DeJounte Murray too. Another like mid-tierish value, right? Like 5K, 5.6. He's not like super value, but mid-tierish. I just think maybe they might need him a little bit more here. They prefer him when it comes to defense. From what I've seen, like they'll sub him in for defensive possessions at the end of the game and like sub him out for offensive sometimes, which isn't like the greatest thing for fantasy. But if he plays more minutes, he is very aggressive with rebounds and all those kind of things. Maybe grab some steals and transition, all that kind of stuff. So I actually do like Murray, and he projects well. We have him at, I think, 26.5, rounding up to 27, but 26.5, and he still projects really well. So when he's cheap, I'm always going to take a shot in tournaments. Patty Mills has been playing really well too off the bench. Like playing like, I think around 25 minutes a game. I got him at 25, so there had to be a reason that I did that. I'm going to tell you right now. No. Don't tell me that. Patty Mills. Yeah, 25 minutes in the last against the Clippers last night. 19 against Charlotte and was a 15-point game. 29 against Chicago. So he has 25 against Utah. His usage rates, check this out. 23, 28, 29, and 25. So he's been a lot more aggressive, taking double-digit shot attempts, taking a lot of threes. I'm always good. If for value, I'm always good for some Patty Mills. He is a veteran. It's a back-to-back. If this game gets ugly, he probably ain't going to play all that much. But for what it's worth, DeMar DeRozan is going to be interesting. His price has dropped dramatically. So if you want to buy low on a player, like it does seem to that degree. Ooh, it looks like Ben McLemore is going to start for Westbrook today. So I guess it's not going to be Rivers, which I think that Rivers will still be owned, but it'll lower him a little bit. And then I think McLemore becomes massive chalk, right? Especially for the people that are trying to fit in Harden. You're trying to jam in Harden. McLemore does a little bit more for you. They'll probably both be owned, but I think McLemore's ownership, whereas before I thought maybe he'd be owned but not as much. If he's going to start, I would think he's going to be pretty damn popular. So we'll make some adjustments on that. Anyway, I'm going to get through this last game so we can take a little break before part 2. We bring on Stevie and Paulie. DeMar DeRozan, like I said, the price has dropped. Normally when a player's price drops almost $1,000, like everybody's kind of super interested, but his price was higher than it should have been because Aldridge has been back, and he was kind of priced for Aldridge being out. He was a big Kobe fan. We saw him show up to the game yesterday in a Kobe jersey. He's going to be emotional. He's from this town. Obviously, he's from LA. He did play in the stadium yesterday, but it wasn't the Lakers. It was the Clippers. And he started off real strong, and it just didn't finish well. But tournament's going to be low owned. I don't think anybody's really playing DeRozan today. I just don't. I'm not personally. You can see in the projection level, like he's not projecting the best for me either. Maybe on FanDuel, it's a little easier, right? Because we saw some guys, he was priced around, so a little easier to get him there. But at the same time, they are huge underdogs. The Lakers have been pretty good. They lost to Portland, but everybody's losing to Portland. They smoked the Kings. I mean, it is what it is. Back-to-back 3 and 4, make your decision. But LMA, you got to make a decision on, man. On DraftKings at 5.8, I mean, you got to make a decision on that. It's like, I lowered his minutes to 32, which is, I think it's really like 31 and a half maybe. And that was more so it didn't give me like more than I was comfortable with. Because, I don't know, I got this weird, I don't know. It's LMA. He's the magician. We call him that because he could disappear with the best of them. So, I don't know. I'm just like, the price is good. The usage, everything looks fine. He looked really good yesterday. I'm just, I don't know. Something seems fishy, but maybe we'll see. I'll talk to the other guys and see what they think. Maybe they could talk me off the ledge with him. I'm looking at around 40%. Don't get me wrong. But if I projected him where his minutes should be, I mean, you'd probably be looking at 60 to 70, and I don't know. Something's fishy about it. Let's go over to the Lakers side. This is always simple for me. Anthony Davis or LeBron or nothing. It's a late night hammer, so you want some action. I lean towards AD. Why? Because AD is cheaper, and I am favoring a more balanced build. With that said, I've seen some places project LeBron as the second highest stud, and I've seen some places project him as like the fourth or fifth. So I'm not really sure what to think of that. Matchup is fine for both of them, assuming the game stays close and they get minutes. One positive note is for AD, he's been questionable every day, like pretty much every day. Typically he plays. He only got 30 minutes in that game against Sacramento, but against Portland he did play 39. So at least you know that they're willing to play. That was the second game in a row he played 39 minutes because he did the same thing against Philly the game before. So at least you know that they will play him more if need be. And again, at 9-3 on DraftKings, that just seems a little too cheap. So I prefer AD. The other guys, it usually takes an injury for me to be interested. Rondo's coming off a really good game, but he doesn't always get run. Like, I'm talking like we've seen games where he gets like 11 minutes or 15 or whatever. KCP, Avery Bradley, they're going to take their threes. I don't know. I mean, this is a place you can go to for some value if you really want it. Take shots on guys like Kyle Kuzma, who's very low price. It's just the minutes have been inconsistent outside of Anthony Davis and LeBron. That's it. Simple as that. Simple as that. What up, what up? For those of you who are just joining us, welcome. Yeah, D-Money, Aldridge a top 10 play today. It's tough, man. Like, the only thing that is stopping me, the only thing that like makes me hesitant, the price is great, the usage is great. If take everything out, just look at the numbers. Yes, he is a phenomenal play, one of the top on the slate. It's just the game theory aspect in the back of my head that's like, man, he's got to be popular. And like I've seen situations where like the sites, not that DraftKings gives a damn if you play this dude or not, but I've seen the situations where it's like, man, they're begging me to play this guy, and then I see it kind of backfire. I've also seen it be chalk and just go off, and if you don't have it, you get destroyed. I've seen it both ways. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the game-by-game portion. Hang with us. If you didn't hit the like button, make sure you do. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel because we are going to be doing a contest in the second half of the show for a free 1-month membership at WiseTake.com, in which you'll get access to the projections, everything, all sports. We have XFL coming, everything. So we're going to do the contest, the giveaway in the second half of the show. You don't got to go anywhere. We're just going to switch to a little pause screen, play some background music while we set up for part 2, get Stevie on, get Paulie on. But again, to qualify for the contest, you're going to have to like, you're going to have to subscribe. And we're actually going to do the contest right here in the chat. So, in the YouTube chat. So make sure you're there. Let's, yeah, exactly. Kevin Jackson says, too good to be true. That's what it feels like, right? He just went for 50 yesterday. They lowered his price even more. He was underpriced yesterday. He was in the core article yesterday for me. He was underpriced. Now today, he lowered him even more. It just seems too good to be true. I agree. But again, at the end of the day, numbers are numbers, and numbers do match up for the situation. So we'll be back in a second. I'm going away. I'm going to play some background music while we wait. With that said, we'll be back shortly. What up, nation? We are back with part 2 of the WiseTake NBA DFS Wise stream. As promised, brought on by the go to True OG. You know him as Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 Ds because 7 wasn't good enough. Paulie, what's happening?
So
all that pre-show hype I was just getting from Paulie. All that pre-whole show hype, and that's what I get. The head nod and what's up. Stevie was here. You can find Stevie if you don't see Stevie now, you can find him on Twitter at Stevie Brown DFS. Stevie was here. He says something about I got the wrong camera. He said something about the last thing I heard Stevie say was, "Yo, I got the wrong camera," and then there was a switch made, and now he's frozen.
I thought he was just down there doing the thug fizz.
No, I don't think so. I think he's frozen.
Right, he said that. He said he had the whole key to the slate, and
then he froze, bro. Then he bailed. Look, it's just like that.
Hopefully, it's not fucking Solomon Hill again. Yeah. Hi, Dan.
He wasn't too fond of the Solomon Hill there.
I mean,
No.
But I think you're onto something. I like what you like too. I mean, I think that's one of the approaches. The only problem, actually, it's not even a problem no more. I like what you like.
Problem. Well, so what? In what? In like the players or the builds? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Both. I like I like that first game. Obviously, I like all the games to be honest with you, but that one especially, I like the idea of just stacking it up and then putting Dame in and whatever 1 or 2 value pieces you need to make it. So it's like 5 balanced game stack from Houston, Dame, and whatever it takes to get him in.
And whatever it takes to get him in. Stevie Brown is back. Stevie, missed your own intro, bro. What's happening, bro?
Oh, we live? Yeah. Oh, my bad. Knocked out my fucking router. I'm super excited for Slate, man. Like I said, I think I got the key to the Slate.
That's right. He's got the key to the Slate. The last thing I heard you say was, "Oh, hold on, this ain't the right camera." And the last thing I said was, "Bro, we can see you fine." And then all of a sudden, you disappeared, and that was it. It was just gone. Anyway,
wait till you see in Slack the screenshot I got of your guys' frozen faces when I disconnected.
Oh, this is great. Those are always a lot of fun. So
PJ Washington closer to probable.
Oh man, I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's gonna ruin some things for me. We gotta talk about PJ now. Shit. All right. So Stevie, you say you have the key to the Slate. I saw you in Slack chat, and you told the nation that you're pretty confident that you have like the nut single entry team, and then you told him to stay tuned for the live stream to hear more about it. So we'll all be waiting to hear what this magic recipe, this secret sauce.
I mean, it's nothing really too fucking fancy, bro. Like, I honestly think it's what's gonna be pretty. Well, I don't know if it's too chalky next. It doesn't have Harden, but I just love the Milwaukee Pelicans game, and I'm completely overloaded on that. I don't like the Rockets value, so I'm going super heavy on like the Hornets value. That's decent. I think there's a lot of like. Pretty much, I'm Xing out completely. Go ahead. What was it?
What Hornets value is decent?
I'm playing like Caleb Martin. Cody Zeller's fine. Miles Bridges fine. Like all of them, bro. Like when they're so cheap. Against Houston, I like them a lot. I think they have big upside, all of them.
Man, I don't know. See,
Cody Martin, sorry, not Caleb.
For me, if PJ plays, that kind of ruins it all for me. Like I was looking at Bridges, just waiting. I was just talking in the game by game. PJ being back kind of ruins. And then number one, PJ obviously emerges. PJ's very cheap on DraftKings. He's like 4.6, so he kind of comes into the picture. But like we've seen Zeller playing more minutes, Bridges playing more minutes. It's opened up minutes for Martin. Martin's gotten 28 minutes in the last 2 games, but those are the 2 games that PJ Washington missed. So I'm a little nervous now about the Harlot value with PJ being ruled in. What do you think, Paul?
I concur.
You still,
but I like Malik Monk no matter what.
Yeah, I could see Monk.
Yeah, I like Monk.
I do like Monk. What about Stevie? Does it make you nervous? You think the price is still too low? I know they are being paced up like crazy.
For Monk and all them?
Not Monk, because like Monk I don't think was going to make that big of a difference, right? He's a guard. They're playing him for their own purposes, trying to trade him. He's also one of their better 3-point shooters. They're going to need that today. But like for like the bigs, the Miles Bridges, I don't want to say bigs, but Miles Bridges, Cody Zeller. Like I was looking at playing Willie Hernan. I was going to take some shots at Hernan Gomez if PJ was out. But with PJ in, man, it just makes things murky. If they want to go small, which they obviously can against Houston, who is small, they'll just play PJ at the 5. We've seen them do that several times. So that ruins Cody Zeller for me a little bit. I think they're still fine. They can still get there. But I think like the probability of them getting the minutes I thought they were going to get has just reduced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you too. I think they're still fine. Like for me, it's a big thing. Like I'd rather play the Hornets ownership and like their value, and like play Cody Martin, and, like some Zeller and Bridges and PJ Washington now over like the chalky value on the which is pretty shitty on the Rockets. Like I'm not like especially on FanDuel too. Like Rivers is a little more expensive. Gordon obviously doesn't have the 3-point bonus over there. PJ Tucker's a little more expensive. So I'd much rather play like that a lot cheaper Hornets value that's in an amazing spot compared to the Rockets that are versus the Hornets, who are one of the slowest teams in the NBA right now. I get like Westbrook and Capella out, but I still think I'd rather ride the Hornets value at much lower ownership than like fringe plays on the Rockets.
Fair enough. Paulie, what about you in terms of, we'll start with the value today. In terms of value, what are some of your favorites? I mean, do you like the value? What point of the value do you like? Do you got min price guys you're into, or is it more like 5K value? Like, what do you think?
A little bit of both. You know, I mean, we just dropped the Benny McLemore news. I liked him before that. You know, he's going to be fairly popular now, but, you know, I think he's just too cheap that, you should play a bunch of him. Malik Monk is kind of like mid-tier-ish in terms of min price to 5K. You know, I like all the San Antonio guards, mainly DeJounte, Patty Mills, and what's his face? White. I like Rajon Rondo, Kyle Kuzma, who are both kind of like in that 4K range. The Newell House around 5'1", Trevor Ariza around 48. Couple dark throws on guys like JJ Redick, Gary Harris, Torrey Craig. I think I'm willing to take a shot on like Willie Hernan-Gomez. You know, maybe the Hornets get blown out, you know, and you see like Willie Hernan-Gomez and Malik Monk kind of do the dirty in blowout time. Maybe even Marvin Williams. Those are the main value pieces I'm looking at today.
Dirties and sevens. A lot of risky ones in there, but I get the need of it, being that it's a 4-game slate, and you got to find ways to get different, so I'm with it. Let's talk about this mid-tier. See, for me, I'm not as high on the value because I like the mid-tier so much, but that's going to...
Me too.
Yeah, it's going to put us at a weird position, though, because I know Paulie's done a lot of research on this, and a lot of times when there's... Even on small slates, especially on small slates, it's rare that there's not a stud in the winning lineup. It's just rare. These are guys with the highest ceilings. And we have a variety of studs, but I find that like the mid tier is so strong for me that like I'm getting overwhelmingly like mid tier builds, and I'm really not getting. I think the highest exposure to a stud I'm getting at the moment, and I'm we'll make changes, but at the moment is like 20% of a stud, like 20% of this guy, 15% of that guy. I'm getting just a ton of mid tier. Let's talk about the mid tier, Stevie. I'm gonna start with you for the mid tier. Talk to me about some of your favorite mid tier plays. I know, like me and Paulie, you're high on the first game, which I'm thinking that everybody at this point, right? If all three of us like it, we ain't talked. All three of us seem to like it. I would imagine everybody does. So, talk to me, Stevie. What do you like the most in the mid tier?
It's the Pelicans. Well, the Pelicans and Chris Middleton, all the Pelicans too. Alonzo, Drew, Ingram, Zion, like none of them are above 7K. I mean, they're all Zion and Ingram are sitting right there, but they've just about a 120 implied team total right now. They've all been smashing value, and they've even in like the match against Houston, which is kind of a similar matchup, they all did very well, and again, similar matchup too. So I think they have all of a really big upside, and like if you play them all together, you get them all collectively for a pretty cheap price tag, and you get like most of that 120 team total too. I think Favors is too cheap. He's fine for if you want like a point center play with big upside too. But like you said, the mid tier, Zion, Ingram, Holiday, and Ball, like I'm super heavy on them tonight.
Holla, Paulie, what you thinking?
What was the question?
Mid tier, God damn it.
Mid tier, motherfucker. I really like Eric Gordon in the mid tier. I really like Willie Barton. Pretty much everyone in the New Orleans lineup: Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Zion, the GOAT, and Drew Holiday. All right, Dan. Who else? Hold on. What would we say is the top of the mid tier? 8K?
You're around 7-8K, sure.
All right, Dan. I like Jeremy Grant quite a bit today, around 5'7". Eric Bledsoe's all right. Devontae Graham is all right. Terry Rozier is all right. The mid-tier build is really my favorite. I just want to get that one stud up in there, mostly Lillard, because he's a god. And,
How do you handle someone like Lillard, you think? Like, do you keep playing him until he cools down? Like, do you hope if he's... I mean, the problem is, like, he's not even coming to chalky. If he was coming to chalky, then you could be like, okay, maybe regress a little bit and we don't see this insanely hot streak forever and
he's not going to cool down until he wins the championship.
All right, so I guess he's scoring fucking 40 points a game for the rest of his career then.
The rest of the season, at least. I mean, he's going for more than 65 DraftKings points today. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. So you play him. You play a lot of him. Unless you don't like money.
65, man. But it's so...
The man can't stop, bro. He said he'd start pulling up from beyond half court, but the coach said he'll bench him. Like, he cannot be stopped. They double him, he splits it. You know, it's the guy's... I think he's the best player in the NBA right now. I know that's a hot-ass take, but I think 2-3 months from now, people are going to start realizing that. And here at the Nation, we've been way ahead of the curve on Dame, and it's been fucking awesome. So why would we stop? Why would we stop? Plus, he's a lot easier to fit than, like, James Harden, you know?
Yeah. What do you do in tournaments at Harden? I'm building my 1 in 50 right now. 60% over under.
I'll be under that.
Yeah, I'll be under that for sure too.
Yeah, I'll definitely be under that. I mean, let me ask you a question, Stevie. Talk cash games for a second. Obviously, you do the cash game article with Matty Ice, Matt Tribisi over at WiseTake.com. Harden is in cash. That's where you're playing him, right? Like, you don't sound interested in.
You play Harden cash. You don't second guess that. Like, that's where you just plug him in, build around him, and have fun.
So now I'm getting real nervous. Like, obviously, we all, we're all from the same place, WiseTake, all that. But we do have fairly different styles. And so far, all three of us seem to really like this first game a ton. We love the mid-tier, despite the fact it does seem somewhat contrarian, but we're all looking at being underweight on Harden. And I'm just pointing it out. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just pointing it out. It's never really happened like that before. Usually, at least one person is like, "Nah, I like this build," or it is kind of, I don't know.
I've never agreed with Paulie on a show we did together ever. I don't think. Like, I don't know if we do a lot today because I'm still not like I know Lillard's been going crazy, but I'm still not playing like a shit ton of him.
Yeah. But everything else sounds
only not because I don't like him, only because I like that mid tier a lot more.
Is there a stud that you do like the most?
It's probably gonna be Giannis, but like it's Giannis. Then like everyone likes Harden, but like I don't want to love Harden like 60% ownership.
Right.
I like Jokic more than Harden too.
Fair enough. I don't disagree with that. Jokic, the minutes, right? Like there's nobody behind him. I mean, nobody. All by himself. Let's talk about that. I cannot believe how they got so screwed with the schedule, man. Like, it just so happened that all these injuries and shit came at a time where they're playing like a ridiculous amount of games in like a ridiculously short time. It's pretty wild. And then some travel in between. They play tomorrow, man. They just got done with a back-to-back. Life is, hey, it's life, bro. It is what it is. But yeah, I think Jokic's ownership is going to be interesting. I also like Whiteside. Like, he's not quite a stud, but he's not he's not mid tier either. He's kind of just floating around there. He went for 59 DraftKings points against Jokic earlier this year, and we know that without Millsap, without Plumlee, this team is just horrible against bigs, man. They just bleed rebounds. They bleed points. Just terrible. I mean, I'm not saying he separates a ton. You know who I want to ask you guys about? I'm gonna ask you guys about LaMarcus Aldridge. This is more of a DraftKings thing, so forgive me, FanDuel people. But he's 6'2" on DraftKings. He went for 50 DraftKings points last night against the Clippers. This is obviously a tougher matchup against the Lakers, being how big they are. But the man is 6,200. I obviously he's gonna be chalk. This is one of the mid-tier plays that's kind of like begging you to go mid-tier. Like, talk to me about, is it too good to be true? Because I feel like it's too good to be true. Is it too good, Stevie? Is it too good to be true?
I mean, the production maybe, but like when he's that cheap, like it's worth like having a lot of ownership on him. At like 25% is like kind of, it's not like super heavy for a 4-game slate. And like at that price tag, like what does he really do to kill you? Like, does he get less than 30 if the game stays competitive? I know we have like a bigger spread, like 11.5 point spread right now, but if he can get 30 minutes or so, is he getting you below like 30 fantasy points? Do you think in this matchup? I don't think so. I think the price tag is like, it's hard to. I wouldn't go under the field on him today.
Fair enough.
All right.
It's just tough because, well, the nice thing with him, he is the power forward center MPE, and with all the like the Pelicans guys outside of like Zion, they're mostly like guard and small forward, and it's really only like Zion who has like power forward center, and then Ingram has power forward. But otherwise, they're all in different spots.
All right.
Paulie, what do you think?
About what?
You ain't listening to shit, are you, bro? It's just there. He's just on full cruise control today.
Yeah, I don't know what fucking Paulie's on today, but
What's the question?
We were talking about what's his, now I can't even fucking think of his name. God damn it, Paulie. You just ruined my life more than you know. Aldridge. God damn.
Aldridge.
someone got to pay attention around here.
Somebody's got to.
Here's what I think, right? I think any one of these 4 games could be the game of the night. They're all, have like, I can make cases for them, right? And for the most part, I think you want to be stacking today, right? Like at least 4 men from the same game, preferably 5. And like, the lesser attractive games like the Lakers and Spurs and I guess Portland, Denver, although I think that's the second best game on the slate, like, are going to have more value because they're going to be really low owned, especially as stacks. So like LaMarcus Aldridge, yeah, you can play him as a one-off. I would definitely play him in cash, but for tournaments, like I think he's only like super valuable to you if the rest of the game goes off, in which case you want them together, because I think I prefer like all of the New Orleans guys over him. It's only a couple $100 separation, like, 700-800. And I think like whichever game really goes, to the last second or into overtime, all those players become better than most of the players in the other games. So it's really like a game stacking slate for me. And I don't really see a ton of separation outside of the first game, but Milwaukee could blow them the fuck out as well. You know what I mean? They've been doing it to everybody. And it's going to be like the chalkiest game, I think. So there's merit to the others. Like I'm kind of more balanced in that aspect. Like I'll have more game stacks of New Orleans because, it's the number 1 and number 4 fastest teams. And like, I think on the road for Milwaukee, they're not as likely to blow teams out. And New Orleans is kind of playing inspired and playing well. So like, Vegas has a 6-point spread. So I'll have the most of that, but I want game stacks of all of them. And, when it comes down to like a 1v1, it's more so not really making that decision, but what do I have in the rest of my lineup and what correlates versus like which player do I think actually does better point per dollar?
So basically, you're really only into LMA in situations where you have exposure to that game, like that's it.
Yes.
Right. So you're not over the top.
Yeah.
That's a good way to avoid the actual like overweight or underweight conversation, because this is going to come down to what game would exposure you have the most to. Like for me, it's sitting here like I have him projected with minutes that I shouldn't project him for, like 31.5. He's unless I'm assuming this game is going to be a 30-point game. He's going to play like 32, 30, 33, 34. But if I do that, like he projects too well, like to a point where I'm going to get way too much of a guy that we deemed a magician because of his tendency to disappear in games, in a situation where he's playing on a back-to-back at 3 and 4 on the road against a Lakers team that's had 2 days off and is extremely big. So that's a decision. What do you think he's going to be on? Let's start with that one.
I don't think anything crazy. I think most of the I don't know, like the price tag's too cheap. I think most of the field's on kind of the same thing as us with the Milwaukee Pelicans. Like how can't you be with like the cheap Pelicans price tags,
right,
and
but that's my
that
point.
total there?
If you're going mid-tier, Aldridge fits perfectly in with those guys. right? Like,
Yeah, but I don't think everybody's going like pure mid. Because if you're going, the problem with the mid tier, like all the guys in the mid tier are like the appealing ones are from the Pelicans. Like if you want to stack the mid tier, you're playing like 3 or 4 Pelicans there. You're playing like Zion, Ingram, Drew, and Lonzo, like 3 of them. Like, are you really gonna play 3 of them without like Middleton or Giannis? That's why it's kind of like harder to stack the mid tier, I think.
Not true at all. There's good mid tier everywhere, right? You got Middleton, Bledsoe. You got the guys from the Hornets. Pretty much the entire roster is middle tier. You got Barton, Grant, maybe Jamal Murray, although I'm not that into playing him, from Denver. You've got.
There's not a shot in hell to play any of those over the Pelicans guys. No chance.
But would you acknowledge? I think the disconnect is Stevie is saying that there's no mid-tier stronger than New Orleans. Paulie's point is that there are other mid-tier plays that are strong, such as CJ McCollum at 6'3", et cetera, et cetera. So
Eric Gordon.
Yeah. Eric Gordon is a player I do like as well on DraftKings. I'm all mid-tier today, so I like them all. But to see, I'm in between both.
I like the mid-tier a lot too. But my thing is, like, if for what you said, like for stacking the mid-tier, I'm not gonna just pick out the lowest owned mid-tier guys, just not play the Pelicans. I'm not gonna play like CJ, fucking Will Barton, Terry Rozier, Eric Gordon, Miles Bridges, all in a lineup together just because they're not like they're lower owned and they're in the mid tier. Like the Pelicans guys are clearly the best. Like I'm picking at least like 2 of those in every single lineup, and like at that point, then like you still need some value there. And like it's if you're playing 2 Pelicans, I think you need to play at least like a Bledsoe, a Middleton, or Giannis.
Well, that's what it comes down to, because you can't comfortably like I'll give you a lineup right now. One of the ones that I got here from our projections: Eric Bledsoe, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, LaMarcus Aldridge, Derek Favors, who's really the value play, Lonzo Ball, Chris Middleton, DeJounte Murray. So the cheapest player in that team is 4.9. That's full mid tier. We're talking no Austin Rivers, no Macklemore, and because of that, no Harden, no Giannis. That's like you can go full mid tier today because, to my opinion, mid tier is so deep. But that's like. Where even if you play 4 New Orleans players, you still got to fill out the rest of the team. So in that sense, are you then working them into stars and scrubs, using Macklemores and shit like that to go up to Harden, go up to Giannis? Or are you saying, no, I am going to take, like what Paulie said, and I'm going to take all these other plays who are also really strong mid-tier plays, and I'm going to throw them in with them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm working the mid-tier into my kind of stars and scrubs. Like I'm playing like 1 or 2 of them with the Giannis, with the Harden, with the Lillard, with the Jokic. Like I don't think there's such a high likelihood of like Jokic, Lillard, Giannis, Harden. One of them going for like 60, 65, 70 at least today.
Right. No. I'm with you.
Any of them can. Where I think it's like, obviously, I think like all those guys said, like Middleton, Zion, Ingram, Holiday, even like, well, he's not been hot. Like Devontae Graham gets a nut matchup here too. Rozier's cheap. Like Lonzo, Bledsoe, any of these guys can go for like 40 to 50 or so, but like, I still want that like 65 to 70 man lineup between like one of those 4 guys, which I think is definitely coming today.
And Paulie, you probably have a similar theory, except that you're maybe not as married. But for you, it's Dame though. It's the same concept with Dame. You're not going to comfortably play Dame with all these mid tier. You're going to need value to get Dame in.
Yes, Jeremy Grant just became questionable.
You got to be kidding me.
It just that's Willie, not Willie. It's the other Hernan Gomez. Min Price, holla,
Juancho.
He ain't even that big. Maybe even Vanderbilt. They may have to play him.
Yeah, well, it's Melo on the other side, so they could get away with playing like just Melo. Yeah.
Wow. But I mean, I think I want 5 mid tiers, Dame, and whatever I need to make that fit. That's my pick.
I like how you make it all simplistic. Like it's very simple. Mid tier, give me the mid tier. Give me Dame, and whatever I have left over, that is what I'm doing. I like it.
It works. It's that's going to win the chip. And then I'll have, a couple where I take Dame out and I put in Jokic. I'll take a couple where I put in Harden. Sure. Take a couple where I put in AD, LeBron. But for the most part.
I got a question for you guys from my own personal play. Favors and Zion, right? Now, they're both, in my opinion, they're both cheap for the spot, right? Really, pace up spot, extra opportunities. Favors is really only going to get 24 to 22 minutes unless, like, Zion gets into foul trouble, whatever the case may be. This team isn't huge. You got Brolo, but you got Zion, you're fine, right? Do you think that you should make a rule? Because if I don't make a rule, I'm gonna end up getting like Favors and Zion together, at least in some teams. Do you think that makes no sense? Would you rather create a rule to not have them together and kind of split their ownership, being that Favors has closed as Zion has closed as the center recently. They play together at times, but Zion's closed as the center. Favors not getting more minutes. We know when he's pushed, he gets a back issue, whatever the case may be. But obviously, Zion, this is going to be the first time Zion's going to see like Giannis. You know what I mean? Like, if foul trouble could be a thing, and that could push Favors to more. So, are you cool with playing at both, or are you like, nah, I'm setting that rule one or the other? That's the question. Paulie, you first, then you, Stevie. Because Paulie won't listen to you. That's why I'm asking him first. Because Paulie ain't gonna listen, so let me ask him now. He remembers the question.
I wouldn't do 100% of that. Like, I think
you want some together. You want some together,
but mostly separate.
Fair enough, Stevie.
I would do some together. Like, it's hard to really say like I want some together and some not. I don't have a really problem playing with them together. Like, I think they're, for given the game environment, they're both super cheap. So I think they both have big ceilings too. Like, Zion can easily go for 40, and like Favors can go for like 30 and 20, 25 minutes. So that's fine.
Yeah. No. Okay. Fair. That clears it up for me because I was kind of torn because the way I looked at it is they're both cheap enough to where it's okay. Obviously, for purposes of ceiling, I do not think they both ceiling. Like, Favors ain't going for 40 and Zion go for 50. I don't think that's happening because I doubt, unless there's a reason that you guys can tell me, I doubt, like, if they don't have Favors closing, if they're bringing in Josh Hart and these guys to close and they're playing Zion at the 5. So I don't see, unless they just like the matchup with Zion and Giannis for whatever reason, if that ends up being a thing and he's doing a good job, then I get it because then you need somebody for Brolo too. I understand it. But yeah, that was just a question I had. But I do think they're cheap enough for the spot. It's a good matchup for both of them and a fast-paced environment. So, and the prices are soft. So I'm with you. I will not make a rule. Sucking on dirties.
It's weird though. Like, it's hard to tell because like Favors looked like he was going to close against the Rockets when they didn't have Capella. It's like it wasn't like they were trying to match up the size there. And then against Memphis, where like they had like when Memphis had like Valanciunas in like the closing lineup before, it was like a real blowout. They're matching up with Zion, so it's tough to tell like gauge, when. Right. Yeah, it's not like they matched like Zion's shorter with defensive size too. It's not like they tried to match up like Favors' height to Valanciunas because like they wanted to close to him against the Rockets when they didn't have Capella, so it's kind of tough to gauge there
and that's
too.
The other variable is it's not like Favors is the best candidate to cover Brolo. You know what I'm saying? Like Favors is more of a traditional big, whereas Brolo is more of a perimeter player. Paulie, what are your thoughts on the situation for this? Like, what do you think? Who do you think closes?
Zion.
Over Favors? I mean, obviously Zion is going to close, but you're saying Zion at the 5 is what you think is going to be the close line.
Yeah.
I can see it, especially if they end up needing, if they're trailing in this game, which they are underdogs, they're going to need some 3-point shooters. That's where Josh Hart, JJ Redick, some of these guys start working into the picture. I could see it. I could see it go either way, obviously.
There's no one on the Bucks that, like, requires both of them. You know?
Right, and like I said, unless they just like design, but you got Ingram, who I think Ingram usually is the one who covers Giannis in these situations, right? Is it Ingram usually?
Zion will probably get him.
Zion's going to get him today, for sure. For sure, Zion's getting him today. But I think in the past they've thrown Ingram at him. It's going to be a fun one.
They probably haven't played him that much with Ingram on it.
So why don't we do this? We all like New Orleans. Stevie, you first. Rank your in the order in which you like the New Orleans players, 1 through 5. We'll include Favors in this, 1 through 5.
Zion, Drew, Favors, Lonzo, Ingram.
Fair enough. Paulie, what about you? No. Number 1 being your favorite, right? So Zion's your favorite.
Yeah, Zion's my favorite. Ingram's my last.
Paulie.
Ingram, Lonzo, Zion, Drew.
Yeah, I got Ingram number 1 also. I've got Ingram, Holiday, Lonzo, Zion, and Favors. Zion and Ball, they could be interchangeable. I do like Zion. My only thing is I think Zion is the biggest risk. And you could argue Ingram too, because Ingram does get foul happy, but I'm a little nervous. I like Zion a ton. I'm going to play him a lot, but I'm a little nervous about him seeing Giannis for the first time for foul trouble. That's the only, just simply for foul trouble, because Giannis is a beast like that.
What makes you like Ingram? You scared with Zion foul trouble and everything? You think he just has like the second highest, biggest ceiling?
I think he's got the highest probability of giving me 6x based off his price. I know the usage just went down a little bit, but it looks like it's creeping back up. We know he's going to play big minutes. We just saw Will Barton torch these guys in the same exact spot playing a 3. So I feel a little more confident in Ingram because I know he's going to shoot the ball. I know he's going to, he should grab some boards, but he's going to shoot the ball. And they're going to need him on the court. Like, he's a guy that, and honestly, the foul trouble thing with Zion in the back of my head. Like, if Zion does get into foul trouble and it leads to his minutes being limited, we could see Ingram back where Ingram, the usage was high enough without Zion. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he's my favorite. It's more of a probability thing, personally. But I like them all, just like you all. I like them all.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell, like, too. So, like, since, like, Zion came back, Ingram's actually last in that list. Well, Favors behind him, too. In terms of fantasy point per minute, but, like, obviously Favors has so much more volatility. He's just cheap. That's why I liked him. And Lonzo seems to be playing a shit ton of minutes every single game now.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be lower owned. So
again, like I'm like, it's funny because like we all like the same things, but we are still being different. Like Stevie, I know you mentioned trying to play Harden. trying to play Giannis, and you want a stud. You mix up the studs, but you want a stud. Paulie is like, yeah, I'm doing the same thing, but I want Dame. Like, he wants Dame. That's the guy he wants. And then I'm not really on too many of the studs at all. I'm like full mid-tier mode, which is not something I feel totally comfortable with. Again, knowing that most of the time a stud is in Atlanta. Don't get me wrong. I'm playing some of the studs.
I mean, I'm taking the optimizer and I'm unchecking LeBron, Harden, Giannis, Jokic, everyone except Dame, and having it make me like 20% of my team.
Boom.
Guarantee that mid-tier.
Guarantee that mid-tier shit. If you use our projections, you're getting a shit ton of mid-tier today. If you use our projections, it's all mid-tier.
Right.
That's just...
Who else is what I use?
Holla.
I have not the opposite, but different than you. I have forced 1 of 4 of Jokic, Harden, Giannis, and Lillard in everyone in my lineups.
You're gonna have who? I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
I made a group to force at least one of Lillard, Harden, Jokic, and Giannis in my lineups.
Oh, true that. All right, then bet. Shit.
I'm sure it's gonna happen regardless in most of my lineups, just because like stars and scrubs. Yeah. But I wanted to make sure like I wasn't getting like full mid-tier.
Yeah, no. I feel you. I mean, it makes sense. Like I said, Paulie checked it out. We did like we looked into this, and like it's rare that like us at least one like the highest raw point scorer on the slate is not in the winning lineup. It's rare on smaller slates. I just don't like the other value. Like everything I like is in the mid tier. Ooh, here's a question. We're getting to some questions. Phil Galvin says, on FanDuel, do we take a chance on Grant? Is Grant like really cheap over there today? Like really, really cheap?
Must be really expensive. Oh, never mind. You're right, because he must be really cheap because now he's questionable. Guys who get downgraded late,
usually not a good sign, right?
Yeah.
Stevie?
Yeah, I'm not really high on him. And like I said, I think it's more likely that he doesn't play than does play, and they have the later lock time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they have the 9 o'clock lock, and like I don't think it's worth taking a shot on him when you can't really late swap on there than playing other cheaper guys in other games.
Yeah, no doubt. Marshall White says, this dude is smoking a cig right now. They must not know Paulie D.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
They must not know Paulie D.
That's a
Paulie, bro. I said the other day, man. It's been weird. I haven't seen you smoke, drink during the show or nothing. I was a little concerned.
That's why he can't over there. Yeah. He's been in his office. We had a later start today, so he's home.
Fire codes.
Yeah, fire codes. I got
materials.
I was nervous.
Arizona Drama says Grant 8 out. No, Grant's not out. What we're saying is on FanDuel you don't have late swap.
He got downgraded to questionable.
Yeah, he's downgraded to questionable, and on FanDuel you don't have late swap. So if you make a decision to play him and he doesn't play, you're screwed. So we had one of the other viewers had asked if what to do over there. So just saying that when a player gets downgraded late, he's not out. But when a player gets downgraded late, it's usually not a good sign. On DraftKings you could late swap away, so you can make that decision when it need be. Here's a good one. Zion or LMA if you have to pick one. Holla.
Zion.
I'm saying Zion definitely too, and I think every projection will say that too, but you get a bit of a discount on Aldridge. It's gonna be a lot lower owned for sure.
Man,
in cash, LMA, and really my answer is
No way.
at
No
6'2",
way.
you wouldn't put him in cash today. So he's not gonna. You don't think
Over
he's not gonna
Zion?
Zion in cash would
dude,
scare me.
Zion is
Why? Why would you be scared of Zion in cash?
Cap, like he's sharing a role with another dude.
What cap are you worried about? 32 minutes for Zion is fine for me.
He got 33 in the last game, Zion. So like, I don't think that the cap is. I'm not even worried about. I'm more worried about like him covering the best player in the league. That's more. What
I'm not. I never consider foul trouble when I make my cash lineups. That's one thing I never.
True that. You know what I mean, though. I understand. Right now, Dame is the best player in the game, Paul. Yes, but you know what I mean.
Oh my God!
Right now, at this moment,
I didn't even hear he said that.
This moment, no, you know what he said when I said he's guarding the best player in the game, and Paulie was like, "He's guarding Dame."
Oh man.
Oh man. So Stevie, like, let me listen, bro. I'm not even like I'm not. You know, like. Zion over LMA for you, even though LMA is cheaper. Like, do you want them both, or is it no? If I'm picking one and it's Zion.
Maybe you can play.
No, I'm picking Zion definitely over.
Okay, no doubt. I'm with it.
Maybe it's just both in cash. I don't know.
That's what I was wondering. Is it both?
Let's build one for the people.
We can go through a cash lineup. Start us off. I'm waiting for my crunch to go through so I can actually import my lineups and then.
Oh, so this is just all about you.
This is all about you, bro. It's not like I'm updating projections for the nation, updating articles.
Well, since you're being fucking selfish, let's give something away to the people to make up for it.
Yes, Paulie. I told him we was gonna do a contest. Why don't you go ahead and do it? Now I already
a half-smoked cigarette by Paulie D.
That's the giveaway. Autograph with lipstick, chapstick.
And a 3-month subscription to the WiseTake Nation.
Yes.
Oh, man,
I
now we're
already
talking
told
dirty.
the nation that watched earlier to be a part of this. You have to like this video and you have to be subscribed on YouTube, with the notifications bell on, preferably. But subscribe. You have to be subscribed. You got to like the video. And Paulie, go ahead, man. You announced the contest, and I have a feeling it's gonna have something to do with who you believe is the best player in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, I got him at plus 10,000 to win the championship. I love that bet. 100 to win 10 grand. They were the runners up last year. If you all don't remember, they went to the Western Conference Finals.
Bro, there's one runner up. There's a finals. There's a first place and a second place.
They were the Western Conference runners up.
Okay.
All right.
You got plus 10,000 to win the championship or what?
Yeah, plus 10,000 to win the championship.
All right, go ahead. Giveaway.
They got Nurkic and Collins on deck coming. They're gonna have a starting lineup of Dame the God, McCollum, Collins at the 3, Whiteside at the 4, Nurkic at the 5. Like, they're gonna get every rebound. Dame's gonna be pulling up from wherever he wants. They're gonna have big dogs. They're gonna set double screens with Nurkic and then Whiteside. He's gonna come around those, pop the 3. They're gonna be unstoppable. They're going.
I really do love that. Like, I like Nurkic and Collins a lot too. I think it brings back more of that, like, the role players they are missing out this year with, like, Aminu and Harkless. I think it gives more shots to them, takes away from like Melo and like the shit players like when they had Hood and stuff like that. Yeah. So
and Ariza was a great pickup for guarding, like Kawhi in the playoffs and stuff like that. So they're building for it. Anyway, yeah. So Dame Lillard. The contest is how many total points does he get? Total DraftKings points does he get tonight? My guess is 79. And the tiebreaker will be how many of those are 3 points? How many? Right? So how many DraftKings points does Dame end the night with? And how many of those points are threes? How many threes does he make?
Holla.
And you'll get a half-smoked cigarette from Paulie D and a month to WiseTake Nation.
A month to the WiseTake Nation. I'm time-stamping this now so we can go back and review. You can just post it right into the YouTube chat. Those of you who are trying to participate, post your answers right into the YouTube chat. So what is it? It's the Dame's. You have to guess Dame's DraftKings fantasy points. And the tiebreaker is how many threes did he hit? Word to your mother. And I'm assuming for the tiebreaker, the closest person gets it, right? Because that would suck if you're the final 2 with this other dude, and then it was
I don't believe in that, without going over. It's whoever's closest,
I hate that too. I don't know why.
I 9 and I lost, even though the next closest was 6. I don't believe in that without going over. the Price is Right stuff. Like, it's just whoever's closest. I don't care if it's over.
Whoever's closest all day. I'm with it.
Yeah.
So we pulling up this cash thing or what, man?
Yeah, let's pull up on some cash.
Pull up. Damn, I got a lot of Bledsoe. Damn.
Smack me, mama.
I like Bledsoe.
Yeah, me too. I just didn't expect to get that much of him. Like,
I think he's gonna be the lowest owned out of like that game. Like between like Giannis, Middleton, like 4 or 5 Pelicans. Like he's coming in. He's gonna be like 8th.
I do.
Highest owned in that game, which is pretty bad.
I do agree. Shit. So who's the first 2 into the cash team? McLemore and Harden, right?
Harden, yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Do we agree? Who is number 3? So for you, Stevie, I'm assuming it's Zion. Paulie, is it LMA or is it Brandon Ingram?
Cash game.
Cash game Skrilla.
Who'd you already put in? You put in McLemore and Harden?
Yeah.
Okay. I did. I mean, I think we got to get somebody from Denver, especially if Jamal Murray's ruled out.
Yeah, but
we don't got that.
Yeah, we don't got that news. That's the problem.
I mean, honestly, I'd probably grab somebody else from Houston, either PJ Tucker or Danuel House, because Capella's out, and those guys didn't get a lot of rebounds.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. Stevie, what about you? Where are you with the value of Houston outside of McLemore in the cash game?
Rivers, because it's cheap too. Again, like I said in the article too, I any day we're playing like Chalk, Rivers, and McLemore, it's an ugly fucking day. No. But I think you're playing them both because of the price tags.
No Rivers. No.
You want to play Rivers and cash?
No,
not if I'm playing Mac. Because he's not starting, right? I'm assuming that's why.
For them, like one or the other, right? And it's McLemore. But if you're gonna play another Rocket, it's either Tucker, Gordon, or House.
I'm gonna play a 70% on Rivers and cash.
You think he'll still be that owned, even though he's like not 20%?
He'll still float around like 40 to 50, which I think at the cheap price tag, it's enough to play him.
Fair enough. Well, I guess what it comes down to is what are we getting? I mean, listen, if it's PJ Tucker, Austin Rivers got just as good of a chance, right? I mean, PJ Tucker, House on the other hand, to me he seems a little more probable, I guess, to produce.
He's a lot more expensive too, right?
He's 5'1" or so. So we've got Harden, McLemore. Stevie says Rivers. Paulie says either PJ Tucker or House.
Or Gordon. Or any one of those 3, but another Rocket. Right?
Another Rocket.
And then I would probably throw LMA in that lineup. We probably can put Zion in it too.
Shit.
All right, then.
Yeah, it's actually not terrible. Right now we got Harden, McLemore, Danuel House, Zion, Aldridge, and Rivers. And it's just like a compromise between the 2 of you. One wanting Rivers, one wanting House.
City and Rivers, McLemore, Harden with the first 3. Zion, you said?
Zion, LMA. We got
Zion, LMA.
6,300 left for a forward and a utility. And again, guys, this is not like...
Who do you have in small forward?
Right now I got House. If you want to swap him out. Paulie wanted either him or Tucker. So
yeah, I don't like House and cash.
You would like Tucker instead?
I think I'd rather go Tucker, but probably, yeah. I mean, Eric Gordon. I'd rather play Eric Gordon. House for damn sure too.
Why don't we do Gordon? I think that's a fair compromise. All right, there we go. So we got Harden, McLemore, Eric Gordon, Zion, LaMarcus Aldridge, Austin Rivers. 6,200 left for forward and utility.
I put Brandon Ingram in right now and then see what's left.
Oh, interesting development here. So they said PJ Tucker was probable. Hold up. Cody Martin is starting, so he's back on the table because they said PJ Washington was closer to probable, but he's not starting. So that's not a good sign. Maybe he'll be limited. He's not officially in or out, so they haven't. All they said was that he was probable and he's a game time decision. But the fact that he's not starting makes you think at least there's something's holding him back, right?
I did. Yeah.
Man, how much do I have of PJ Washington?
I like Cody Zeller a lot if PJ Washington is limited.
Yeah. And Cody Martin does become a strong value play. I mean, right now he's starting. You have to assume he's going to play decent minutes, and he's played well. Let me make some changes. All right, then making some changes in here.
Yeah, I gotta make. Oh man, I gotta make some changes to my lineup.
Make them
Oh, my.
changes, Brogdanovich.
Fuck, I gotta try to find some definitive news on this too.
I ain't gonna get no definitive.
News on what?
On PJ Washington play or not?
I mean, the guy started every game he's played. So something is up.
Something is definitely up. It's weird that, I mean, they said he was probable, right? But then he's still technically a game time decision. They haven't actually said if he's in or out. But the fact that he's not starting is not a good sign.
I think we'll get the news in like the next minute.
I hope so, because this game starts in like what? No, this game is 8, right? That game's not even until later. It's like 7.
Yeah, it's the 8 o'clock game. We got a half hour after lunch.
Shit. All right, then shit. All right, then bed. You gotta watch that shit, Stevie. You'll know what it is.
What's it called?
The dude's name is Cassidy Campbell, man. Acts just like Cash. It's hilarious. Except Cash was real. Like this dude he's doing it as an act. Cash was real, but hilarious. Hilarious. So PJ Washington, if he's in but not starting, where would you project his minutes? He's normally around what, 29 and a half, 30?
Yeah, you should get him bigger. He's playing around like 30, 32 or
but
so.
But the fact that he's not starting is,
a lot more than
he
that.
usually starts every day. So if he's not starting, you would assume that they're going to clip minutes somewhere from him, right?
25 or so.
25, yeah, that's about right.
It's enough to make me like love, like I said before, like Charlotte value, like more like Zeller, Cody Martin, Miles Bridges, a little bit of Monk, but like I still like them regardless. So I'm bumping all their projections back up manually and like taking my PJ Washington out. Like I still probably throw in like 5-10% PJ Washington, but don't want him in lineups with other Hornets. I think like I'd rather have him as one-offs just in case like he doesn't play, like he's not burning the value of the other Hornets in the lineup.
Right, I feel you.
That makes sense.
Paulie, how you approaching the Hornets?
I'm gonna wait 2 minutes to get the news.
Wait, that news though. What you got in mind though?
I'm leaning towards he's not gonna get ruled out, or we're gonna find out he's on like a 15-minute limit, and we're gonna play all the other value with Monk leading the way, Cody Zeller number 2, Bridges number 3, little bit of Marv and a little bit of Cody.
A little bit of Marv. Holla. See, we'll give minutes to Zeller, and we'll give him even more. I'm ready to give more if we get this news. You know what I mean? But
come on, give me this fucking news.
That's what I'm talking about, Steve. You tell him, man. You get mad, you get angry, you get pissed.
I hate when this shit happens. Like now, like
I get it, bro.
I don't know. Like, do I try to go heavier on PJ Washington, assuming that he's maybe plays off the bench, still a decent amount of minutes, and it's gonna be super low now. But I did what I said. I'm throwing in like 5-10% of him. I made a group so I can't have him in any like no Hornet. I can be in the lineup with him too, because I don't want him if he doesn't play killing the Hornets lineup. So,
alright then, shit. I feel you.
Why am I good?
It is so annoying, man. What we got? We got 12 minutes to lock, Nation. 11?
Yeah.
11 minutes to lock. Damn.
CK, how's your top 5 exposures looking like?
Right now it's pretty much. What the fuck? Right now it's pretty much the first game, man. I got a lot of Bledsoe right now, a lot of Middleton, a whole lot of Ingram, a lot of Ball, Holiday, a lot of Zion, a lot of Favor. I'm getting them. Getting them gone. Getting them real gone good. Mid tier. I'm on mid tier, bro. Like I'm having a hard time even getting these studs in here. I'm gonna have to raise some of this value up. I got like Eric Gordon, right? Like those kind of plays. You know, that there's just so many of them. I'm not getting a lot of studs right now. And that makes me a little nervous, you know what I mean? A little nervous.
Now my optimizer use isn't even fucking loading. This is so much fun. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, man. That's always great when that happens. Been there, done that. Sucks balls. Oh man, I gotta stop fucking with this thing. I keep messing with it.
I did.
Top 2 point guards on FanDuel for value.
Go ahead, Paulie.
All right. Hold up, though. Like I gotta open that shit
Open
up.
that
So
shit.
if you got it, you can answer it first. If not, just hold up. Wait a minute.
Real quick,
All
if
right,
you
wait.
haven't, Nation. God damn it, Paulie. God damn it.
Austin Rivers and actually no, not Rivers. I like value. There really isn't that great value for FanDuel point guard. I guess like Rivers is cheap. I'd rather play like Rozier, Ball, Bledsoe, in like the mid tier for like point per dollar
Yeah,
value.
value does kind of suck.
PJ Washington is available. Would come off the bench for the first time his rookie season.
Okay.
Right.
So there you go. Just enough to make everybody a little uncomfortable, you know. So
So the answer to that value question is Dame Lillard and Rondo.
holla. I think didn't he ask for 2 value point guards? No, 2 point guards on FanDuel. There you go. Yeah, that works.
Oh, I thought it was a value question.
Oh, no, you're right. No, it is value. It was value. Top 2 point guards on FanDuel
Okay.
value. It was.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's only 3 really to consider from Mills, Rondo, White. So, I'd say Mills and Lillard. It's a value if he's gonna go 8x. Right?
Yeah, all day. Hit the like button, Nation. If you haven't already, see a bunch of you with us. Much appreciated. You joining us. Hit the like button. Goes a long way. Really helps us out. All right, we got 8 minutes. It's time to crunch up some teams. I'm asking another question because I think it's a good one. Bledsoe or Ball?
That's actually tough. If you have a lot of other Pelicans in the lineup, like if you're playing like Zion and Drew or like Ingram, then I would go with like Bledsoe if you don't have like both like Middleton and Giannis. But otherwise, like Lonzo better.
Lonzo, holla. Oh damn! I ended up with some Cody Martin. Holla. I'm with it. Paulie, what do you think?
About?
Did you answer it already? The Lonzo or Bledsoe? You said Lonzo?
Yeah,
you said Lonzo.
Lonzo.
I heard you slip one. You got an explanation or no? It's not like that though.
Because like he's been smashing lately, and he plays massive minutes, and he kind of does a little bit of everything right now. Where Bledsoe, is, I don't know, if they don't play him as much minutes, DiVincenzo's there doing the dirt from him. He's like 4th option to shoot, where like Lonzo may lead the team in 3-point attempts today. Like, I don't know, he just has a higher average DraftKings points per game over the last month than Bledsoe.
Holla. You think Ball's going to lead the team in 3-point attempts?
He might. He could.
That'd be a fucked up situation, I think. They'd be in some trouble, man. He could get lucky, but he might be in some trouble if he's the one.
I mean, he's taken 6, 7, 7, and 9 in the last 4 games. Like,
but there's got to be people taking more than that, though, right? On the team?
Yeah. I'm sure, like, Josh Hart took more of those games. Like, who else? Like, who else is taking that many from that team? He's taking a ton.
Yeah. What about Drew? Is he chucking some or not?
I don't think he's shooting that many threes, to be honest. 5, 5, 7, 8. So less than Ball.
That's wild.
And he's 0 for 5, 2 for 5 in the last 2
Well,
games.
you know what it is. It's because teams are letting Ball shoot. So, hey, you got to take it.
I mean, he's going after it. You know, he's actually not even shooting that bad from 3 this year, I don't think.
What on the season? I don't disagree. I haven't been paying attention to Lonzo Ball's shooting skills, but I am curious. So if you do know what that is,
I mean, 2 of 6, 5 of 7, 1 of 7, 2 of 9, 3 of 5, 3 of 6, 2 of 6, 4 of 9. That's the last 10 games. Like, that's about 37-ish% or so. Like, I don't know. I think.
All right, then bet shit.
I bet he's like 30, 34% on the year, I would say.
True that. What did you say, Stevie?
What are you guys doing with Cody Martin now?
I don't know, man. Like, I would prefer if PJ was out, I was ready, but I'll probably play him like 20 to 30% at this point. Again, I don't need the crazy value because I'm just not that big on the studs. But if he's gonna help me get a couple more studs, I'll take it. You know, like he's
5 minutes.
If he's starting, what do we assume You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we assume his role is going to be today? He's going to close?
I think he's locked into a pretty secure role now. He's been getting consistent minutes with or without PG Washington. Even like the last game Washington played, he still got a decent amount of minutes because he took over like that like Batum role. So I don't think it's like one of those like fringe guys where we're seeing like someone who start like a game. Like what's the guy from fucking Portland who started the other day? Who they just got trade?
Oh, no.
Gabriel, right?
Wendy Gabriel. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not gonna be like a starter who just gets like 5 minutes like to start the half each time and play. Like he's been getting consistent minutes in that Batum role now, so I think he can get some bigger minutes. He's super cheap and a great matchup. I'm playing a ton of him.
No doubt.
Please.
Plays all day. Paulie, what are you doing with him? You interested or not?
Come on, give me my fucking lineup. This thing's frozen now.
Interested in PJ? Oh, Cody Martin?
Yeah.
Not a ton. I think he's gonna have like a super low usage role out there, and with PJ Williams not limited, just coming off the bench, like, he could really only play like 16 minutes. They've done that with other guys before. Like they were starting Batum at the beginning of the year, but he was only getting that amount. I don't know. I think he's like gonna have lower usage than what his last X amount of games are. He started. I'm not.
You were breaking up a little bit at the end there. I don't know what the hell.
I'm not that into
him. Not that into him. Okay.
I think like being on the court with the starters hurts his usage.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Sure enough, Stevie's like, all right, then shit.
Yeah, I have a ton of him.
Yeah, he's like, all right, then shit. Here we go, though. Gotta do the next 20, though. Gotta get these teams in, though. 172. Man, doing these different contests can be quite confusing when it comes to the CSVs.
Bizzles.
Yeah, no, now that I have all my lineups loaded in, I have to like click around to try to find like the lineups, like the bigger contests like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the difficult part, of course, is the navigating through that horse shit.
So now that we got Cody Martin versus Macklemore versus Rivers, who do you guys like?
Macklemore.
Okay. Give me a second to finish this before I answer that.
Yeah, but I am curious to hear your answer.
Let's get this in here. Now I gotta go to this one. Damn. Shit is confusing.
Smith, baby.
We got 2 minutes here? And the crunch for real. True player for real.
2 minutes.
Oh, I'm.
You're already in there, right? Yeah, I figured that.
Did it?
Figured that mode. Alright. What was the question?
Macklemore, Rivers, or Cody Martin.
Oh shit, that's a good one. I don't love any of them, to be honest. Like I'm more in the Eric Gordon range, but I guess if I had to pick one, I guess Macklemore, 34 as a starter. It's hard to see him really going too wrong. If Rivers was starting, it would have been him. But
for me, it's Macklemore by a mile.
Macklemore. Is that have anything to do with the fact that you love the rapper Macklemore?
I do not.
I do not. You know how we do. You want some other shit, bro. You want some straight other shit today, man. I went with Paulie D today. Some shit. I don't know if I can handle what Paulie's on today. Shit.
Alright, then. Man,
I'm not gonna get this last night, but I have no clue what I want to play.
We got a minute to no. I don't even know what I got where.
Block.
What's up?
I like the Kyle Kuzma, by the way. Just want to put that out there.
Oh, you want to say the fucking 7:30 was the first game locks, huh?
Ooh, yeah, we are at lock. How about that? How about that?
What is the first? Oh, it's the good game.
It's the game that decides the rest of the night.
That's right. That's gonna do it today for us, Nation. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Please like the video. We'll come back and pick out our winner. What's up? Wild slate for a 4-gamer. A lot of moves to make. A lot of different ways to get different. So for Paulie D, for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, don't forget to check us out on iTunes, all the good shit, Twitch, everywhere. Follow us on Twitter. Like the video. For Stevie, for Paulie, for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation. As always, good luck.